Hi, my name's Andy and I'm going to show you how to build a scoreboard in Scratch. This is a scoreboard for a very particular sport called AFL, or Australian Rules Football, and it's a little bit more complex than many of the scoreboard demos you might have found on Scratch already. Looking at the scoreboard I have over here, you can see the main components. There's one section for the home team score, one section for the away team score, and within each of those sections there's three individual score components. There's the number of goals, number of behinds, and the total number of points for each team. The relationship between those three is fairly straightforward. Each behind that the team scores gives them 1 point. Each goal that the team scores gives them 6 points. So the total number of points at any time should be 6 times the number of goals plus the number of behinds. And if we run this version of the application, you should see that behavior. Every time I click on the green button to add an extra behind to a team score, the number of points goes up by 1. Every time I click on the button to add an extra goal to a team score, then the number of goals goes up, but the total number of points also goes up by 6 as well. That's all there is to it from an interactive point of view, but behind the scenes there's a reasonable amount of functionality there, which I think makes this a fairly interesting piece of code to look at. The elements of Scratch we're going to be looking at as we build this thing out are mainly focused around 3 areas. We're going to be using a lot of the features of sprite costumes to change those actual digits and make the score increase as we need to. We're going to do a lot of sending of messages between various components of what you see on the stage there to be able to make sure that the communication of score updates happens accordingly. And to get the total calculation for the points working properly, we're going to use a custom variable as well. Now, I'm assuming that people watching this particular video have had experience with Scratch before. They understand basically how to put Scratch programs together, but they may not know exactly how to do something like this. I'm not going to be taking you through the basics of Scratch. Okay, ready to get started? Then let's throw away the one I've done already and let's start afresh. I'm going to start with a brand new project here. I'm going to delete the cat because there's no place for a cat in an AFL scoreboard. I'm going to start by choosing our backdrop. Now I have a backdrop that I've made already and I'll share that over the internet for everyone here who wants to follow along, and I'll put the URL up on the screen as well. But the backdrop I need is, where are you? There. Okay, and as you can see, that's the basis for the scoreboard itself. I'm not a graphic artist, so please excuse me the fairly primitive implementation here. All the core static bits of the interface are there. I've tried to match the color to the color of the sprites I'm going to use later on as well. So if you've got this far, we're ready to get onto the first main piece of functionality, which is to implement the scoring for just one of the digits for the behinds.